to evaluate language for content that encourages meaningful task completion and improves user comprehension. Today, we're going to take a usability first approach to evaluating language. In usability tests, I've often seen participants rapidly click through next or continue without really processing the content in front of them. They're focused on completing the task in front of them, not comprehension. When users are skipping past words, it may be a signal that the content and language isn't aiding comprehension. Sometimes copy can be treated as an afterthought, or worse, as a filler. But in reality, it's a critical part of the user's experience. It's what helps guide users, clarifies choices, and sets expectations. Evaluating language and content through a usability lens means not just asking, did they complete the task, but did they understand what they were doing? Here's how to assess whether or not your product's language is aiding comprehension. Firstly, being clear is kind. Is your language clear the first time you read it, or does it require a second pass? While branding and tone of voice adds personality and can bring warmth to your copy and content, clarity must come first. Things like instructions and error messages must be unambiguous and free of jargon. For example, a poor direction might be something like, let's get things rolling, whereas a better direction might be, start your application. Secondly, being specific. Does your language support actions and aid decision making? Words like next and continue are often too vague, yet familiar enough for users to continue clicking without really stopping to think and absorb what's next? What am I continuing to? What am I agreeing to? I'm sure we've all clicked on a button far too quickly, only to stop and realize what we've done and scream no at the computer. Buttons and headings should be clear enough to help guide the user and help them make the right decision. For example, a vague option might be continue, whereas a better option could be review order or confirm email address. Thirdly, scannability. You may have heard the phrase users don't read as an explanation for what you might observe in a usability test or in a heat map that shows scrolling behavior. While the reality is a lot more nuanced, what we often observe is scanning behavior. Can your users understand the content on the page without having to read every single word? Now, this isn't to say that words don't matter, because they do. What it does mean is that we should be optimizing for how people scan. For example, we could use short sentences, plain language, meaningful headings, appropriate font sizes, and bullet points for lists. Next, meaningful microcopy. Are all those extra touches like tooltips and defaults actually helpful? Microcopy can be one of the most important aspects in helping a user or preventing user error. It should be helpful, clear, and direct, but on a much smaller scale than regular copy, as it is often constrained by smaller character lengths. When thinking about error messages in particular, any copy that is either too vague or too technical won't help the user to identify what they've done wrong and self-correct. If a user is going to fail, let's help them fail gracefully. For example, a poor error message might be enter valid credentials, whereas a better error message might be your password requires at least one number and one special character. Finally, building trust. If your users don't understand what you are trying to communicate, trust can be easily eroded. When asking a user to do something that might be considered sensitive, such as enter in personal information, perform a financial transaction, or agree to terms, the language must be clear, direct, and transparent. Avoid using copy or content that is too full of jargon, too vague, or contains too many overly complex legal or technical terms. For example, a poor disclaimer might be, "We may share your data," whereas a better disclaimer might be something like, "We share your data with shipping companies to complete your order." In conclusion, language and words matter. They help to clarify by being specific and meaningful. They help to build trust by being clear, direct, and transparent. And once it's all on the page, designing for scannability helps users to identify what's important. Evaluating UX language through the lens of usability requires us to focus not just on task completion, but also comprehension. The goal is to make sure that the user doesn't just complete the task, but that they also feel confident that they understood the journey. So, if you're new to usability or just want some help or support or advice, get in touch. You can check out our website below or subscribe to our channel for more content. Thanks for watching.